for 4 days digitalization. Sarojbhaiya, welcome. A third day to 4 days drive to digitalization. And today's topic is a very apt and very important for all of us as professionals, whether we work for a firm or we work for a client, on data security, on cloud security, internet security, network security. See, what had happened before was we were just working on a single computer and we were not even connected with anyone. 20 years, 30 years back, we used to buy a computer, we used to have softwares installed in it, we used to have a local drive, and it was our own world. So there was no risk except what has happened in the history is when we were trying to download or we were trying to install a software by putting in the hard disk, by putting in the floppy disk or a CD, there was a threat of virus. So then came a solution that, all right, why don't you scan your CD drive? Why don't you scan your floppy drive and then install anything? So those were the stages we have seen so far as security was concerned. कि भैया अपना डेटा में कुछ ट्रोजन नहीं घुस जाए, कुछ वर्म नहीं घुस जाए, कुछ तरह के वायरस नहीं. So virus was the only concern we had. And then I remember Saroj Bhaiya will also add to it. उसके बाद समय शुरू हुआ जब हम लोग ने सोचना शुरू किया कि भैया जब हम इंटरनेट से कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमारा नेटवर्क सिक्योरिटी इश्यू होने लग गया. इंटरनेट के थ्रू बहुत सारे वायरस आने लग गए, नेटवर्क के थ्रू वायरस आने लग गए, तो वहां वो चैलेंज होने लग गया. नाउ वी आर मोर कनेक्टेड. We are more connected in terms of social media, in terms of cloud tools, in terms of working on cloud. So now we are much, the exposure is at least 1,000 times more than what we have today. So the risk factors has increased manifold as what it was in the past. And it has become a full-time business for many professionals who are security professionals or hackers. Like one of the speaker today is an ethical hacker, Sachin Dedia. So unka ek profession hai, there are people who actually enjoys hacking a system. And the worst part is once one fine day you get up in the morning, you start your computer and your entire system is locked. You're not able to see or do anything in your computer. And one of the prey to this is one of our speaker today who is doing the first session is Bharat D. Sharaugi. He was himself a prey to it, and I will request him to please discuss that case study of what has happened and how this happened. Another very important aspect which many of the senior professionals have faced is the phishing attack. Now, what it happens is, I know one very good person named Vashant Parekh. He was called and was given a small little message, a request to pay some money from one of his close friends. He actually paid the money and later came to know that was not that person. So someone can create your fake profile, your fake email ID, your fake Facebook account, and will, let's say, it will be sounding like I am calling Saroj Bhaiya, I'm sending text to him, or I am putting a Facebook message to him, or I'm sending an email to him as if Sanjeev Sanghi is looking for money, which is not the case. How we can defend that, how we can protect that, and how we can ensure that we are following a discipline of complete data, network, and computer security. And I think both the speakers of today are really very good in this subject. They had done a lot of specialization on this. They have worked really hard on this, and they are very interactive. So my request to all the participants today is make it as interactive as possible, because both the speakers are very interactive, and try to put up any questions or all the questions which are coming to your mind in the chat box. I will request Bharat to take the question as and when it comes so that it becomes very interactive. I think this is a great session, and everyone should take benefit of it. For furtherance of the program, I request Harshita to please take it forward. Over to you.
Thank you, Sanjeev sir, for such a great introduction. It is very important for us to know that what we are going to talk about today. Our topics for the sessions today would be cybersecurity and data security. So both of these words sound very similar to each other, but they are grossly different. So I would just like to add one more thing to it, that information security or data security is something where we are trying to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data itself. Whereas cybersecurity deals with how we can prevent any unauthorized access to that data. So both our sessions will try to emphasize on these. And it is going to be a very, very informative session for us, because digitization, before taking up data security, one cannot move towards complete digitization. So now I would like to request CA Sarvesh Chaparia to please come up and introduce the speaker for today, CA Bharat Sarao. Over to you,
Thank you, Harshita. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sarvesh, and I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker, CA Bharat Saragi. He is a fellow member of ICAI and has several certifications to his name, like DISA, CISA, Certified International Financial Reporting Standard, Certified Forensic Accountant and Fraud Detector from ICAI, and Certified Depository Operations from NISM. He has 18 years of experience in algo, system and cybersecurity audit, and specializes in NRI taxation. He is also the co-founder of a virtual exhibition platform named We Attend, which helps organizations to organize virtual events, giving the look and feel of a physical workshop. He is the member of Investor Grievance Redressal Committee of the Bombay Stock Exchange and Metropolitan Stock Exchange of India, and also the co-chairman of IT Committee and of Direct Tax Professional Association. He is an expert in overseas accounting and compliances and a regular speaker on topics like cybersecurity, cyber hygiene, and NRI taxation at reputed national and international events. We welcome you, Bharatji, and look forward for an enlightening session from you.
Thank you, Sarvesh. Thank you, Sarvesh. Thank you, Views Exchange and Sanjeev Bhaiya for this opportunity. I think I shall start now. Can you give me the screen sharing right, please? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Harshita, you can interrupt me whenever you want, if my screen is not visible to you, or if there is any question in the chat box.
Right.
So today's session is basically data security. Cyber security will be dealt by the other speaker, Sachin. Sachin is a fantastic speaker. I've attended myself a lot of webinars from him. So I'll be focusing more on data security. Data security is again a subset of cyber security. Cyber security is a huge subject, and we'll be mainly focusing how we safeguard our data, how we have different place where we can save our data, options to take a proper backup, and whenever there's an attack, a kind of virus attack called ransomware or any kind of attack, we can immediately come back and show our resilience for that. The idea is to show, mainly to show resilience in case of any attack. We all are chartered accountant, I believe, and mainly the attendees are chartered accountant. So I will be restricting myself to more on our CA's area, like what kind of data we handle. So the first thing is, how do we protect our own data or the client data? Both data are absolutely important for us. The client data is again very important for us. We have a lot of accounting information from the client, then their personal information like their Aadhaar number, their PAN card, their bank details. All these are very, very sensitive information. And if there is any pilferage from our side or any breach from our side, both the client and us can get into a lot of trouble. So we have to be very, very careful when we deal with client data and own data. So what kind of data is normally a chartered accountant firm has? Like you see, this slide has been made by me looking at my profile, me as a chartered accountant. And I'm sure I it's common with most of us. There could be some more data which you might be handling. You can add up in the chat box. Like we are handling a lot of accounting software data, which could be Tally, Busy, or any other softwares. These are all local softwares. I'm not talking about the cloud-based SaaS softwares. We are handling a lot of Word files in the form of audit report, internal audit report, management representation. We have a lot of Excel files, balance sheet files, working files, CMA data. Then we have a lot of PDF files. PDF files we normally use for this AOC4 filing, MDD7 filing, the scan balance sheet, then the shareholder list, and management representations, etc. And we have soft copies of the audit files also. We, like in my office, I have made it mandatory to have a proper soft copy of all the permanent files and the working files. Then we have we use a lot of applications. Many of us are doing TDS returns. So when we do TDS return, there are backups for those returns also. Those XML file or the .fvu files, and the backup Excel files of the client. Then we have income tax returns. I have been using income tax software. So there also a backup need to be taken of the application. Then there are certain people who are using ROC software for preparing minute books, for preparing shareholder registers. Then we use XBRL softwares also. So all these applications have data, and there's an option to take a proper backup of those data. So these are also very, very important. If we lose any of these data, we are in a very big fix. Again, we have to create a lot of data. Then we are handling a lot of client data also. The client name is there, bank detail is there, Aadhaar, PAN, email, contact detail, user ID, in fact, everything of the client when we are filing income tax return. So again, very, very sensitive. If it gets into the hand of any wrong person, he can immediately open a bank account somewhere and then can do a lot of frauds with that particular person in his name. So these are the type of data in a started content form, and we have to carefully store them, secure them, and restore them if there is a need arises. The second most important thing is emails. I'm sure everybody of us are using email, and Gmail is the most popular one. So are you any of you are aware how to take a backup of your email? I'm sure many of you are not aware. Even I was not aware a few months back that how do I take my Gmail account is around 105 GB space. So how do I take backup of that? I'll show you that also. And then we have WhatsApp. So WhatsApp have a facility to take backup. There's an option to take backup to your Google account or a Gmail account. Customer data. You can call it as a client data also. So whenever we do any cyber audit and a cyber security practice we follow, we always identify our client data as a very critical business assets. This is one of the most critical business assets apart from our hardware and the softwares we use. So we have to ensure that proper segregation of responsibility is there. Who is in our office handling the client data, how it is stored, who can access it, how do we protect it from both physical activity or any technical activity. Then how, if there is if any incident has taken place in our office, how do we report that? Do we report to our client that certain breaches happen in my office? And then how do we identify genuine recipient for all these sensitive information? So the first most important thing for any organization, a chartered firm organization, is they should identify the client data as a critical business asset. And whenever you identify it as a critical, immediately things come into my mind. How do I protect it? How do I preserve it? And how will I be able to restore it if there is any action? So we have a proper server in our office. All the client data, all the information are saved in that server. That server has a physical restriction. Like anybody just simply cannot walk into my office and get inside the server. There's a proper rack inside a room that we call it a server room. And there are proper mechanism to lock that particular machine. So this is basically, I'm talking about a physical server, a local server, but we'll talk about cloud server also later on. So when we are handling a physical server or a local server, we have a responsibility of protecting it physically also and technically also. Physically protection, I mentioned, it's under lock and key in a room where access are restricted. We have an access card to enter that particular room. And technical protection are basically all those machines have password restricted access. Anybody just cannot log into the machine and can look into these files. There are certain particular files which have been defined as confidential, super confidential, and non-confidential. When you enter a confidential folder, there are again a restriction on those folders. Access has not been given to everyone. We give protection by way of passwords also. And for super confidential files, we have a protection called encryption. We encrypt those folders. So for normal chartered accountant, we do not need to learn to do encryption, but we can do certain things like we make a folder name confidential and then we lock it by putting a password into it. So if this is how we protect the data physically and technically. In case if there is any kind of breaches happen in your office through ransomware or through virus or through any other means, a proper person should be assigned responsibility for that to deal with it. We should have a plan, a mock plan, like if there's an attack, how will you handle it? Where will you restore the data? Then how will you inform the stakeholders? Stakeholders mean clients also. And stakeholders mean government also. There's a website from Government of India is certain, Computer Emergency Response Team of India, where you have to report if you face any kind of breach, a cyber breach or a data breach. There's an option. I will show you how to do that also. So when we are dealing with customer data, we have to be very sure whom we are sending the client files. How are we sending those client files? Are we sending to genuine recipient? This is very important. When you are sending, you should recheck your emails, whom you are sending. Is that person, suppose a client A file goes to client B, this would be very, very detrimental for the client A and for your reputation also. So you have to be very sure whom you are sending emails, which client you are sending emails. And then there's an option to introduce cryptographic controls also when you're sending any files. If you're sending any files to client, you can again put up password protection folders. I give you an example. When we receive e-contracts from stockbrokers, our trading members, stockbrokers, we always see we cannot just open that contract. We have to put our PAN number or our date of birth, whatever the facility gives, then only we'll be able to open that. That is called a cryptographic control. So we also need to understand that the client data is a very important data, and the time has come to put into cryptographic controls in our office also. So there's an option like after 8 years, there's no requirement from the various statutory bodies that to keep data for ROC files or for income tax purpose. So we have an option to delete those data or purge those data. What we understand from deleting or purging is like we simply format the hard disk. Formatting hard disk will not serve the purpose. We have various tools where a format hard disk, like a 10 years old hard disk which has been formatted, I can easily get all the information what was there stored in that hard disk. So there are a lot of tools to open those hard disks. Those are specified tools. So there's a process to safely purge old data that also need to be followed by a chartered accountant firm. We should learn how to safely purge it. Like you can, there's a very good way to purge it, simply destroy the hard disk. There's no need, the hard disks are not very costly now. So you can destroy the hard disk. NDA with vendors. How many of us have done any NDA with any of our vendors? NDA with vendors mean non-disclosure agreement with vendors. Like I being a system auditor or a cybersecurity auditor for many broking firms, many insurance aggregators, like the first thing they do with me, they sign an NDA with me. That since I have been taking over their system, I have been looking at their AWS account, all the admin accounts. So I have a lot of confidential information with me. So there has to be a legal way that I should not disclose this confidential information to any third party without their consent. So they sign an NDA with me. We also, if we are using any software from a vendor and we give easily access to that software for doing any maintenance work, so we should have an NDA with all those vendors. Like I have my cloud vendor. My entire office is in cloud now. So I have done a proper non-disclosure agreement with that vendor that since you can access a lot of my information, you are restricted not to disclose my information to anyone. So this is a first step to be professional. Even if you start taking up new assignments, ask your client to do an NDA with you. This is how you show that you are also becoming professional, a true professional. As I mentioned, cryptographic controls, whenever you are sending emails, we have an option to lock that files by passwords. So that is called a cryptographic control. No confidential customer information or the client information should be posted in social media. Suppose if you're a stockbroker and Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is dealing with your company, you cannot go to Facebook and say that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has bought this particular shares. Just giving you a small example. So you have to be very, very sensitive about your client information, what kind of data he's handling. Suppose my client, I'm dealing with a listed client and he got a very big contract of a government contract of 2,000 crores. And I am the person who knows about this information. I just cannot go to Facebook or LinkedIn and say that this particular client I am dealing has won this. So these are sensitive information. Similarly, confidential information of client should not be posted in any social media. We have to be very, very careful. What is PDPA, GDPR? The PDPA is Personal Data Protection Act in Southeast Asia, Singapore, and GDPR is a Global Data Protection in it's a European country act where they restrict people to disclose or to have proper control in their offices so that data breaches are minimized. It is mitigated to a maximum level. If there is a data breach, then those companies are heavily sued and there's a huge penalty on those companies. These kind of acts are in the making right now in India. It's, I think it might see light in 2021 also. So yeah. So I hope I'm able to theoretically make you explain how important is customer data. Now I'll take you to some examples where I'll show you how you take backups in different drives, Google Drives, Cloud Drives, and using softwares to take physical backups. Hope you all will be interested, because the purpose is to give you maximum information how to implement it in our way, in our small way. We are all small practitioners, I believe. Harshita, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. I'll just show you. I'll take you to my Gmail account and show you how the first thing is, can you see my screen here?
Yes, sir, the screen is there.
Yeah. So Google Drive is one of the most common form of Gmail is one of the most common form of emails which we all are using, and we should take this maximum advantage of this cloud. This is a most trusted application right now in the world. So where we can store our office data also
Sir,
as a
sorry to
backup.
interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
So there is, we can only see the PPT, the cyber threats PPT on the screen.
Just 1 second. Can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
So when you go to your Gmail account, I'll again go to my Gmail account. I'll show you. Most of us are using this free Gmail account, which has a maximum capacity of 15 GB. So you can see that capacity here. It is there in my screen in the lowest part. So when I click this, there's an option where it is showing how much capacity I have used in my Gmail account or in my Google account. Gmail is just a part of Google. There are several other applications also. So I have used 105.9 GB. Now you must be wondering, how did I got this 105 GB? Since there's a limit of 15 GB only. In any free Gmail account, there's a limit of 15 GB. So there's an option where you can increase the storage of your Gmail account or your Google account, and you can upload a lot of your office data as a backup. When you upload this into the Google Drive or the cloud storage, you have a lot of comfort when it comes to any kind of virus if it has happened in your local machine, or there's an option you are traveling anywhere and you can use this Google account to download those particular files. So I'll show you how to do that also. First, I'm showing you how to increase the storage capacity. It's a paid software. No, it's a paid application. Like when you increase your storage, you might need to pay something. There are various slabs also. I'll show you. Just 1 second. Can you see my screen again? Is it showing? Yeah. So there's an option to increase your Google Drive storage. So it's for 100 GB, it charge you 1300 per year. If the attendees are not aware how to increase the storage size, I'm just showing you here. So once you increase the storage size, it gives you a lot of comfort. Now you have a cloud storage with you. You can easily store your office data into those storage. How to use that? When you open your Gmail account, you have this 9 dots on the right hand side. When you click it, you have an option called Google Drive. So I'm just clicking on that Drive. Can you see my screen, Harshita?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So this is a storage from Google. You can store any files, any folders here. So how do you store that data here? There's an option called New. When you click on New, there's an option to upload a file or a folder. Now I'll show you how to upload a folder. Since I clicked a folder, suppose I click this. Suppose there are many files inside this folder. I simply took this and upload. So there are basically 6 files inside this folders. Within minutes, less than a minute, you can see my screen showing less than a minute. It will upload the files into the cloud. So this is one of the most safest way to save your data, to take a proper backup. You can see this. So we have 6 files stored in my cloud.
So there's a question in the chat box. Would you like to take it now or later?
How safe is to store the client and personal data in Cloud Drive? It is absolutely safe unless you share your password with someone and you don't follow the 2-factor or multi-factor authentication. If you properly follow the multi-factor authentication, the cloud is absolutely safe. I'll show you how to do a multi-factor authentication also. So, yeah, this is how you save data into a Google Drive. There are various options to save your files also. If you're working on an Excel file, you can save through Google Sheet. If you are working on a PPT, you can save through Google PPT also. Like we have been working in our office last 1.5 years since the COVID, we are trying to use this Google Sheets. I'll show you how a Google Sheet works. This is a Google Sheet of my office, few Google Sheets. So these are kind of sheets which we have created and we have shared with all the team members of our office. Like there's an option called share. Once you click that share, you can add email IDs And you can add people here who can collaborate together and do the work. Again, this Google Sheet is absolutely safe. Why it is safe? Suppose you are working on Office Excel and there's a virus in your office, or the Excel got corrupt. The file is gone. But when you're working with Google Sheet, it is there on the cloud, and each of the member who is using it can see it on real-time basis. So again, this is a form of data security where you are working on online collaborative tools, and you have an option to save data on real-time basis without losing it or without having any risk of virus attack or a ransomware attack. So it's there in my machines. I'll show you the different, like suppose I take you to this particular file, Google Sheet. You see, there are several files, even my Udin. I don't keep an Excel, local Excel sheet. Everything there is in my Google Doc only. So because many of my team members generate Udin for me and they update the sheet regularly. Work by status. You see, I make a full sheet where all the team members' name are there, what they have done for today, like each one is being tracked on a regular basis and they update on a real-time basis. I've been following since the month of COVID, like after the my office got opened in the first phase of COVID. So these are very, very helpful. So this is a way where we can save our data through using various cloud online applications. Similarly, with Words also, Word files are also there, just like Excel. So doc, that's called a doc file. You see, all these files are there, and we have a option to share this file with our team members. So one of my team member did a BAPT of this particular site, and it was not that he sent me an email. He just shared it from here, and I was able to see what has been done in that particular file. If there is a comment, I would have made an option to make a comment here, and he can immediately see that comment without losing on the track of the versions. We always face this problem that file versions are there. So I've showed you how to use this Excel file and the Word file and the Google Drive over cloud. So I'll tell you how to take a backup of your Gmail. You've seen that my Gmail is around 105 GB. It is not possible for me to locally download each and every email and take a backup. So Google has given a very good option to take the backup of my entire email. So there's an option called Takeout. Just type Takeout Google. If I click this, takeout.google.com. Many of us are not aware, even I was not aware. Just few months back only, I just tried to search how do I take up a backup of my Gmail, and I found it. And it was very, very useful. So you are given an option to export a copy of your content in your Google account. Google account means everything in your Google account. Your Gmail account, your photos, your Google Drive, your calendars. Now you can see your latest export. The last export was done on the 4th of August 2021. If I want to export it now, I have an option Manage Export. I can create a new export also. Like it tells you what was the last time you did a backup of your Gmail account. So create a new export. You can see what kind of options the Google is giving you take a backup. Suppose I deselect all. I'm not using Android device configurator. I'm not using art and culture, Blogger, but I'm using Calendar. Calendar is a very, very important tool for me. I don't need much information from Chrome, Classroom, Cloud Print, contacts, again, are very important for me. Google Drive are very important for me. I'm not using any health data from Google Fits. Google account is important for me. Google Chat is important for me. Google Photos are important for me. Hangouts are important for me. Google Keep, I'm using it very, very frequently. Location history is not required. Now you see the mail is there. So Gmail is just one of the component of Google, not everything. We are thinking that Gmail is Google only. So I'm clicking this also. Maps I don't require. My activity I don't require. Reminders, yes. Task, yes. YouTube search I don't require. Then next step. Now they're giving me option. Do you want to export it once or export every 2 months for 1 year? So the second one is an automated one and the first one is a manual one. So you have an option export once. So once you click it, it will tell you that the entire Gmail Google account has been exported. So now there's a delivery method, means how will you export it? There's an option. I'm just clicking on this. Add to Drive, add to Dropbox, add to OneDrive, add to Box. And there's an option to download it locally also. For me to download a 100 GB file from cloud it will be a mad thing. What I normally do, I take a backup from cloud to cloud. So I have a Dropbox account also. I have a OneDrive account also. So once I click on a OneDrive account, it will ask me for an authentication from Microsoft, which I've already done earlier. And then I have an option, link account and create export. So after few minutes, my OneDrive will have the full backup of my Gmail account, of my Google account. So in case if somebody takes my Gmail account by mistake, or there's an attack in my Gmail account, and if we intentionally delete all my mails, I am not in a worry. I have taken a full backup of my Gmail account. So are you understanding how important is taking backup? Once you take backup, you just forget about the attack. Cyber attacks are like Fidan attack. You can only try to mitigate it. You cannot stop it. There's no word called in the cyber history that you can stop any attack. You can only mitigate that. So once you have a backup, you are done. You do not have to worry about anything. So this is how we take Google account backup. I hope everybody is clear about it. Any questions? How to use MS Excel shortcut keys in Google Sheet. There are certain, you see MS Excel, Office Excel is absolutely a very specific application, and Google Sheet is more generic. So there will be certain problems you will face, since I am not able to prepare a balance sheet, a financial balance sheet, tag balance sheet in Google Sheet. It is not possible to prepare. So there will be certain restrictions. But again, you can upload the MS Excel sheet into your Google Drive. The same benefit will be there. You can, whenever you are traveling, you are here or there, or your team is outside, you can simply take it out from the cloud. You don't have to rush to your office to take.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I hope everyone is clear with this Google Drive. Similarly, there are options to upload in OneDrive also. If you are using Office 365 license, like Office 365s are now available on rentals. Like they charge you 6,000 rupees and they give you 6 licenses to be used in your computers. So when you use that, they give you a 1 TB of OneDrive space. This 1 TB is a huge space, which you can use it to save your data into cloud. It is very simple. Just like Google Drive, there's a OneDrive option in your system. Whenever you buy a new laptop and you open a Microsoft account, you will see that icon in your system, OneDrive. So you simply need to, I'll tell you how to do this OneDrive also. Again, I'm sharing, just 1 second. So I'm logging into my OneDrive account. So this is a OneDrive account, a cloud account from Microsoft. Again, absolutely safe. I'll tell you one example also what has recently happened. Just 3 days back, it has happened with me. So in a OneDrive account also, there's an option My File. There's an option New Upload. You can simply click on this icon. You have an option to upload folders or files. So folders, it will take to your local machine. You can upload anything, just like I'm uploading this. Upload. It is so simple. Can you see my OneDrive space? I have used just 93 GB of my 1 TB space. My entire office is here. So if I have a ransomware attack in my office, I'm not worried. Like I take a regular backup. In spite of my entire data is in cloud also. I'll show you one more cloud where my actual data is there, where my live data is there. These are all just backup tools where I keep a backup of the backup. So that something happens to my live cloud, I'm not worried. I have a backup here. Yesterday only I took a full backup of my cloud. This is my cloud file. It's very, very simple to use OneDrive. And I believe I encourage everyone to start using Google Drive or OneDrive for taking backups. There's an option called synchronization option also. Like suppose the OneDrive icon is there in your desktop, in your laptop, it automatically synchronizes with your database. But it takes a lot of time to, it kills a lot of time. So what I do, I normally put the synchronize option off for the OneDrive, and I do it on a manual basis rather than automatically. I'll show you one more thing. Three days back, in one particular machine of my team member, there was a ransomware attack. That machine got logged, in the sense that one screen was coming and some Delta Kashmiri guys, basically it was a Kashmiri guy attack. They were mentioning about stone pelting attack in Kashmir, and they were talking a lot of things about Kashmir, because all the files name has been changed to either a Pakistani city name or a Kashmir, something like that was happened. And I was also in tense, man. I was also got tense that one particular system got attacked. So if they could spread it through my network also. And what has happened that I have shared my OneDrive with that particular machine, and they could migrate certain files, upload certain files of those files to my OneDrive also. So my OneDrive also got affected. When I logged into my OneDrive, it showed me a warning that they feel there is a ransomware attack in my OneDrive. Shall I proceed to clean that file, or do you accept that these are not ransomware? And I was immediately like shocked how it has happened. And it was basically a ransomware attack. And there was an option to restore my OneDrive. You see on the left hand side, there's an option called restore your OneDrive. Again, I have to verify my identity. So they gave me option 1 day back, 1 week back. So the entire option was there to restore, and the entire files which they have corrupted would be deleted by OneDrive. So these kind of options are not available anywhere to restore your backup. So this is one of the very good key feature of OneDrive. Restore your OneDrive. I'm just logging it out now. It's not safe to like keep your all these cloud data online every time, you should log it out. I'll show you one more method of taking backups. I have purchased this software called Nova Backup. This is a local software like for taking backup of local machines. So this is a very, very good software in the sense that you see earlier what we used to do. We have several folders and we used to put one pen drive or a hard disk and click on the right of the mouse and send to item. We used to do that. Do you think how safe is using that method? That method is actually not safe at all, because many of times we have seen that after few minutes or few hours, certain files did not get copied. We get a message. There was some error, certain files could not get copied. So this is not a way to take a backup of any folders. A backup should be always taken using a proper software, a backup software, which create an image file of that particular backup. Because those files are absolutely authentic and they follow the CIA policy, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Again, the most important thing, CIA. So when I use this backup, it gives me an option to do a automatic routine backup also, and it helps me to take a backup in proper hard disk, and it creates an image. You can see my screen. There's an option to take backup. There's an option to take backup too. If I put a pen drive or a hard disk, or I can use a different network machine also, or I can use a different folder in this particular machine also. And it creates a proper image folder. So these are all absolutely authentic way to take backup. And whenever I take backup,
Bharat, your screen is in still that Microsoft sign-in page only.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, this is a very good software. This will cost you 6,000 rupees for 3 machines, or 4,000 rupees for 1 machine. So what I do, I take for 3 machines, I use it in my machine and another important server machine, or I can give it to my partner also, or my family friend also. So basically you get 3 licenses. And it's a very, very simple way to take backup. It takes a lot of time to take backup because the backups are absolutely authentic also. There's an option to take backup. Suppose I'm taking a backup of this particular folder assets. Where do I want to take the backup? It gives me an option. Where do I want to place it? Suppose I place it here. So this is how you take a backup, and whenever you are into trouble, you can use it backup to restore your data. This is mainly for taking local backups. So as I mentioned, there are synchronization options also. Like Google also give you an option to synchronize data. So whenever you are working in your file, automatically it get updated into Google Drive also, and similarly get updated into OneDrive also. Now I will show you like what I have done in my office for like I have taken my entire office to cloud. Harshita, just let me know when you don't see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So there's a question in the chat box right now.
Yeah. Can you please read it out? I'm on
Yes,
the
sir.
screen.
Can this tool do an automated incremental backup every day?
Yeah. It can do. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Can you see mine now?
Yeah.
So now my office is totally working on this cloud. This is my real-time cloud.
So the screen is not there right now.
Now,
Yes. So,
yeah. So I have taken my entire office into cloud now. So there is no data in any of my local machines. Everyone in my office is working into this different kind of application over cloud. Why it is safe, how it is safe, like you have seen in COVID situation, we know, none of us are been able to go to office. So this is last 1 year, this has really helped me a lot in getting my work done without any disruptions or without any interruptions. I'll take you to my local server, like to my cloud server also. Just 1 second. Can you see my screen?
yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah. Can you see my screen? Sorry for asking you several times.
So that's all right.
It's not coming. Yeah. This is my cloud server. I'm giving you live example, like real-time example. I'm taking you to my cloud server. My entire office is into this particular machine, and every team member is accessing this particular machine. Now, just as I mentioned, 2-3 days back, I had a ransomware attack. I got again like disturbed. Like, how do I save this particular real-time cloud? What I did, I'll show you this particular folder. Like, there's a folder. Like, everybody is accessing this particular folder in my office.
So the screen is stuck at remote desktop connection.
Okay, it's not allowing you. Now,
Yes, sir.
can you see?
Yeah.
Shared
there is-
folder.
Yes.
Yeah, this is my cloud application. I'm accessing a machine, different machine at the cloud and showing you that. So this is how I am safeguarding my data here. What I did, in my cloud, I logged into my OneDrive and took a backup of the entire cloud again. So if there is the vendor has already given me there's an option, they take weekly backup. Every week they take the backup of this entire cloud machine. If there is some problem or some attack here or something happens, I can get a backup of 1 week back. But what I did, suppose the backup takes place on Saturday. Every Saturday this backup takes place through the cloud vendor itself. So I have done that on Wednesday, my office will take a backup of my entire database again on the cloud. So maximum I lose for 3 days, not more than that. There's an option to do it every day also, but it takes a lot of time to do that. So it is totally depends on you or your office, how you take it. So this is one of the way where I am taking a backup of my cloud to a cloud. Clear? Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, so there's one. Is OneDrive user specific or particular laptop or desktop specific?
No, OneDrive, you see, if you buy a 365 license for 5 users or 6 users, you can share that license with your team members. So all the 6 members will have OneDrive. So what we do in our office, we share the license. Like I have taken, suppose I have taken 3 licenses, 3 licenses mean 18 machines I can use. So all those 18 people will have OneDrive. But I don't use that OneDrive. That OneDrive is only for taking backup for me, for my office. My main cloud is where I am using it on a real-time basis. So there are different ways to take your data into cloud. Whenever I'm talking take data into cloud means not backup, but a real-time basis. Have you heard of AWS, Amazon Web Service? You can easily open a AWS account also and make your entire desktop there itself. And anybody can access to that particular desktop and do the work. You can save all your applications, your Tally, your Busy, your tedious return software into those applications, just like a normal machine. Yeah, I'll show you how to use this two-factor authentication in your Gmail account. You see, when you open a Gmail account, there's an option called account here. The first one, there's an option called security. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So there's an option of security. You see, signing into Google, password, then two-step verification. You can see here is on. In most of your cases, you will find it as off. So there's an option. If you click on this, they will ask you again to authenticate the Google account. That's the best part. So I have given my phone number and my alternate email also as a part of security. And I have downloaded a software called Authenticator on my Android apps. So Google give you an option. Either they send a text message in your mobile phone to authenticate the login, or they give you a number into the Authenticator app where you put that number into whenever you are logging from any machine. So that is called a two-factor authentication or a multi-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication means simply by sharing a password, nobody can log in into your Gmail account. It is basically they ask you for a third level of security. That is, they can ask you an OTP, they can ask you a code, they can ask you a question also. That where you were born, when you were born, your mother's maiden name, anything. So these are all called multi-factor authentication. So I would request and suggest everyone to immediately activate this 2FA factor in your Gmail account. It is very, very important. Once you have a 2FA done, it is nearly impossible for any person, and you must have a strong password also. Your password should be alphanumeric with special characters. And alphanumeric means it should have a lowercase and an uppercase also. It is very important to have all these factors, like all these things together, then only your Gmail account is strong. And it is very, very difficult for any person to hack it. Yeah, any questions?
Sir, none in the chat box right now.
Yeah, I think Sachin has already joined. So I'll just take 3-4 minutes to rush on my PPT, because Sachin is already taking care of the cyber threats. I'll not talk much about it. So I'll just rush. So there are various types of cyber threats: phishing, virus, denial of service, distributed denial of service. There are hackers through poor password management. Then you have disgruntled employees also. You have untrained employees, untrained team members. Yesterday, what has happened 2 days back could be a reason of my untrained employee. There's a huge surge in cyber fraud, as you are aware, because of this increase in like we are working from home, most of us. Sachin will already take care of this phishing. I am not going into it. So I've already spoken about password. Password should be minimum 8 characters. I always suggest to have special characters, uppercase, lowercase, and it should be alphanumeric. And you should regularly change your password, and you should have minimum two-factor authentication for your passwords, for all critical function passwords. When you're working from home, I want to give you some tips on best practices when you're working from home. Like, it is important to have a strong password when you're working from home. Most of us are now looking at only our WhatsApp messages. It is important to look at our text messages also. Whenever a fraud happens or a banking transaction happens, the SMS comes to you that this has been deducted or this has been debited. So you should be very careful when you should look at your text messages also. You should not miss on that. Later on, after 5 days, you cannot go to the bank and say, yeah, I got the message, but I could not see on that day. I saw it today only. You should do proper online banking through particular systems. Try to avoid using mobile phone while doing online banking. Always stay click aware, means just don't click on any link. You should be very, very careful when you are clicking on any link. This is like part of the phishing. I'm sure Sachin will tell you to be careful how to click and what to not to click. So whenever you are into your home, working from home, you should be careful. Is your webcam light is on or off? You are using a secure Wi-Fi. If you are using a Wi-Fi in your house, it should be password protected. And whenever you're using any desk, most of us have been using any desk last 1 year, and there's an option where you can see that any file has been transferred or not. If you see any file has been transferred, immediately disconnect it and disconnect yourself from the internet. You should disconnect your Bluetooth also when there is no requirement. So when you're working again video conferencing, you're doing Zoom, you have to be very careful. You should have a meeting password. The attendees should go through invitation only, as you did very well for the views exchange program. There should be limit of screen sharing also to host or selected one. So these are the best practices we follow when we work from home. Just to round it off, we should use genuine operating software. Windows 10 or Windows 11 now is coming. Or if you are using Linux, then again, the Ubuntu should be downloaded from a proper sources. We should update our operating software very regularly. It should be put into an auto mode to update it. We should regularly take backup of all our critical data and database. I've shown you multiple ways to take backup. We should have antivirus for both our machines and for phone also. The phone has become very integral part. Now it's time to take on antivirus in our phones also. We should test our backup very regularly. This we are not doing. I think I suggest everyone to test your backup, because when you need it and if it doesn't work, nothing worse can happen that day. And the last, don't open any attachment click if it is coming from a spam mail, unsolicited mail. You don't know that email. You should have proper access rights. Like if your employees are going out, your team members have left, immediately stop the access right to those employees. You should have a proper list. Who are the people given what kind of access rights? All the third-party application patches should be regularly updated. If in your office or some incident has happened, some phishing has happened, you should immediately share all these incidents to each one of you with your team members, so that it does not happen with them. Because cyber security, data security is all about awareness. And regularly train and update on new cyber threats. I think that's all from me. Sachin can take over now. Any questions?
No, sir, there are no questions in the chat box right now.
Yeah, no questions there.
Thank you so much, Bharat sir, for this insightful session.
Yeah,
Because data is the wealth of today. So it was very important the way you demonstrate through a demonstration shown us the ways how we can protect it, the in and outs of Gmail account where we use so frequently, and the importance of SMS with WhatsApp, because morely we were just using it for our OTP purposes. So it was a very insightful session. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
So now we can move on to Sachin sir for the next session. Sachin sir. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Saroj Swaikaji, CA Saroj Swaikaji, to please introduce our speaker for today, Sachin Deviaji. Sachin sir,
Thank
can
you,
I
Harshita.
please see your video, please?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Over to you, Sarojji.
Thank you, Harshita. Good afternoon, everybody. I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Sachin Dedhia today in this our session. Mr. Sachin Dedhia is an independent cyber crime investigator and also a certified ethical hacker. He is also a certified international trainer in the field of cyber security, ethical hacking, cyber crime investigations, and digital forensics. Since many years, he is working as an independent cybercrime investigator and also as an IT security expert for various MNCs, SMEs, government departments, corporate and individuals. He has also provided training to Mumbai and various other state police departments. He has also been assisting various other government departments of India with respect to their cybercrime queries. Since 2010, he has been successfully conducting various seminars and workshops across numerous schools, colleges, universities, chartered accountants, chapters, Rotary clubs, hospitals, etc. Overall, covered all the sectors of the society. He is one of the most popular speakers in Mumbai University for the refresher and orientation courses. In 2010, he was privileged to give seminar in the Raj Bhavan, that is Governor's Office of Mumbai. 9 years of experience in vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, VAPT, ISO 27001 network, web application web. He has conducted numerous audits for various international as well as national clients, corporate and government departments. He has been conducting corporate workshops at and is associated with various prestigious associations like Indo-American Society, Bombay Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Princeton Academy, ICAI, and Bankers Training College. Sachin Dedhia founded Skynet Secure Solutions, a company headquartered in Mumbai, specialized in cyber security and digital forensics. Skynet Secure Solutions was recently recognized as one of the top 25 cyber security consultant company in India. He has successfully conducted over 500 seminars and workshops across India and enlightened over 1 lakh participants. And much more is there to be added on. With this, I request Mr. Sachin Dedhia to share his expertise among us. Thank you, sir. Over to Harshita.
Very good afternoon, Sachin sir. Please go ahead with the session.
Thank you. Okay, Shita, I'll just confirm me one thing. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, you can see my screen, right, everybody?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, good. So, welcome all the participants. I'll just continue from where Mr. Bharatji just left. Okay, so just continuing on the topic of cybersecurity, and I'm going to keep it a little bit interactive one. So, one of the first things, like, I don't know if the points have been covered or not, but in case if they have been covered, let me know. I can move on to the next different points also. So, first thing which I want to ask here is, so when I say, what is your email ID? So my question to all of you is, आपका email ID क्या है? What is your email ID? So I think most probably all of you will give me the answer in the whatever be the name @gmail.com, right? Like majority of you must be having email IDs on gmail.com. That is what I'm assuming. Okay, so maybe Gmail, maybe Yahoo, Rediff, but or your own servers, but mostly it would be Gmail. Okay, I mean public email IDs. And Bharatji just rightly said, he very beautifully explained the two-step verifications and the backup. I'll just add on to that one particular point. I don't know if he has covered or not. I just came in the last 5 minutes, that's why. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to now ask you, do you remember that now there are many websites or applications which gives you the option that you can sign in via Gmail or sign in via Facebook? अपने को याद भी नहीं रहेगा. Honestly speaking, we might not even remember this. No, but there are so many websites, there are so many applications. When we go there, register, they give very wonderful option that you can sign in via or Hotmail or Gmail. How many of you have done it and you might not remember it? Am I right? I mean, we could have done it. I'm just giving an example. Can you see Truecaller over here? Right. In Truecaller, when I have to sign in, I cannot use Truecaller without I sign in. Now it gives an option over here. Can you see this sign in with Google or sign in with Microsoft? That is my Outlook ID. I'm pretty much sure majority of you must have ended up clicking on sign in with Google, and we might not be even aware on how many websites we have done this. Am I right? किसी को याद है? मतलब किया है. Know that we have done it. Where we have done it. Am I right? So now I'm telling you, I'm asking all of you now a very simple question. If I sign in over here, okay, please tell me what can, अगर मैंने sign in with Google कर दिया, तो Truecaller मेरा क्या data access? और first question, will Truecaller be able to access my yes or no? If yes, then what data? So what I'm going to show you is, we don't know how many websites have taken access to our Gmail IDs, right? Because we must have used that option of signing via Google. So I'm just going to show you how to check where all our services, where all our things have been done or not. So what I'll do, I'll share the steps with all of you. Okay, मैं खाली practically करके बता रहा हूँ. So I'll go into my email ID. Here you can see an option on the logo side, manage your Google account. Right? If I click on manage your Google account, तो left hand side पे भी देखिए, left hand side पे home, personal info, data and privacy and security. Right? Or if I click on security, I'm not going to talk about the two-step and all. It has been covered. If I come down below that option, now you can see this option over here known as third-party apps with account access. I hope you can see this over here. Third-party apps with account access. If I click on that, now here I get to see how many applications have taken access to my Google account and what kind of access has been taken. Let's give an example over here. Dropbox has got access to Google Contacts. Honestly speaking, Google Contacts is all over. Truecaller has got access to Google Contacts. फिर भी ठीक है. I repeat, I'm going to like say in or Google Contacts is okay. Here you should not see has got access to or Google Drive. I'm just informing all of you. None of the third-party applications should have access to your Google Mail or Google Drive. So if I click over here, Google Dropbox has got access to Google Contacts. ठीक है, चलता है. Contacts ही लेके. Well, contacts are email IDs which are nothing much. Okay. And then Truecaller again access to Google Contacts. So that is kind of like, okay. What I'm saying to all of you is, over here you should not get access to Google Mail or Google Drive. If you want, I'll repeat the steps. Or if you want, I can wait for 1 minute if you want to try and see it right now only. If your Gmail account is open, want to try, I hope there should not be any surprises. If you want, I'll just repeat the steps. Okay. Close this. Go to the logo, then manage your Google account. From manage your Google account, I'll go on the left hand side, home, personal info, data privacy, and then what? Security. I click on the button. I come down. Then here I look for third party apps with account access. I check manage third party apps, and this is where I'm going to check. I hope this is clear. You want to try it out? Anybody wants to try it out? Let me know.
So can you please repeat it once again, sir?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just close this. I'm into my Gmail account, right? This option is under security, right? I'll go into the logo, manage your Google account. From there, I will go into security. And in security, we'll look for third-party apps with account access. Now, if you don't get it, if you're not getting it, it means there is no third-party access. See, for those participants or those who are not getting it now, it means there is no third party access. So it is good, actually, it is good. So what I'll do is I'll click over here and then I need to check. Hopefully, when you check it, hopefully none of you participants, if for those who are checking it right now, should have any kind of a problem. Surprises, hopefully. For one app, it shows has some account access. Basically, just click on that. Click on that. You can see has access to what? Can you see over here has access to what? Just track it out. Just try it out. Okay, to rest of all the participants, I'm just giving you an example. There is a very wonderful application known as CRED, C-R-E-D, CRED. It's a credit card paying app. In case if you have registered yourself CRED, okay, and then if email account, okay, you will be able to see that CRED has got full access to your Gmail ID, full access to your Gmail, Google Mail itself, not contacts, but Google Mail. So this is one of the examples which I wanted to share. Basic account info, basically it's okay. Basic account information is okay. Chale, then it is okay. Clear? Any doubts in this? Okay, I'll move on to the next point. Now, I think majority of you must have heard about this Domino's pizza hack. Domino's का database hack हुआ था. You can see the Domino's data breach, right? So, lot of people's data was breached. In fact, people can see their addresses, their phone numbers, their email address, कितना pizza मंगाया था and everything. Right? I think all of you would also be aware of Air India's data breach. Air India data breach also. 10 years of data. 10 years of data गया है. 10 साल का data compromise हुआ है Air India के, right? Including payment details, if I'm not mistaken. And then there is this known as MobiWik data breach. You can see this. This is 100 million users leaked. So MobiWik के data breach में तो हमें clearly आधार कार्ड, पैन कार्ड सब दिख रहा था, right? Now, honestly speaking, we might not be even aware कि हमारा कौन सा data breach हो गया है, क्या कहाँ जा रहा है, क्या ये data breaches में 100 million users में are we a lucky number or not? Are we among the lucky users? I'm just taking it in a fun manner that are we among those 100 million users or not? How do we come to know? How do we come to know that my email ID is a part of any data breach or not? Okay. So what I'm now going to tell you here is I'll show you one website. Have I been pawned? Okay. I'm giving you the website link in the chat. So what you can do is I'll just show you everybody over here. And first of all, put this website. Now, if anybody of you wants to give me an email ID, only your email ID, you do not even need to give me a password. I will just check for you whether your email ID's password has been compromised or not. Basically, I'm just going to show you whether your email ID's password has been compromised or not. Okay. So Naveen ji has given me the email ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the email ID of over here. And then I'm going to ask, look for it, whether it is anywhere compromised or not. So if I click on have I been pawned, copy again. Now it is searching. Good news. No breached account and no paste. So it is good news. Naveen ji, my email ID is nowhere been compromised as of. मतलब कोई भी database के breach में आपका email ID नहीं आया. That's a good sign. Really good. I'll take another email ID of Balakrishna ji. Okay, now please look over here. When I put Navinji's email ID, there was nothing was found, right? But when I put Balakrishnaji's email ID, you can see found in 12 data breaches and one paste. मतलब 12 data breach में इनका email ID reflect हो रहा है. कौन से 12 data breach है? Well, most of it is like CT0 Day, Collection, Go, Digimon, Dropbox. So over here, I think Balakrishnaji must have at some point of time use this email ID for Dropbox and also use this email ID for IndiaMart and also use this email ID for LinkedIn. I hope you're getting me. So LinkedIn का भी data compromise हुआ था in the year 2016. IndiaMart का अभी compromise हुआ है August 2021 में, right? So most probably his email IDs would be a part of this thing. So now what has happened here? Just giving an example. So what has happened is IndiaMart. There's a website, right? So Navinji must be using this email ID, no? This one. And maybe his password would be like this. Maybe anything. I'm just writing as a password as password. Or password is like this. Okay. This means be his password. Now, what has happened is this password combination in IndiaMart. What has been exposed? Email addresses, names, phone numbers, and physical address. So no password has been exposed. Whereas in LinkedIn, that passwords have been exposed, email ID and password. So what I'll do is I'll paste this LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Okay. So now what I'm telling all of you is that अगर आपको कोई भी मतलब if you find any of your email IDs as a part of this, then whatever combination that you must have used on the website, मतलब you must have used this combination, you know, website and then username and password. Then my request here is please change the password first of all that email ID. First of all the websites that have been shown over here. And second of all, if you're using this username and password combination on any other website, like say Take My Trip or Paytm or IRCTC or something like that, even that you will need. I hope you're getting me. I hope this is clear. Should I repeat again? Okay, let me know if you can still hear me. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll repeat the step again. I would request go visit this website, put your email ID. जैसे मेरा एक email ID है. So यहाँ पे दिखाएगा 14 data breaches, which means this email ID has been compromised at some point of time. Where it has been compromised? Well, just look into it. Even IndiaMart में मैंने ये account खोल के रखा होगा. Big Basket, even Big Basket was compromised. So now what I need to do is, अगर Big Basket के अंदर मैंने ये वाला username और password combination use किया होगा, okay, then first of all I need to change my password on which website? Of course, Big Basket, IndiaMart and everywhere like that. And उस website के ऊपर, on that website, whatever username and password combination I must be using, like if the same username and password combination I'm using it on what IRCTC, then I need to change the password over there also. I hope this is clear, everybody. If you want, I will give you 1 minute of time, 2 minutes of 1 or 2 minutes of time. Put your email ID. There is no harm in putting your email ID because we are nowhere anyway putting our password also. But at least we'll come to know whether our email ID is a part of any data breach or not. Is name and mobile number combination safe? No, generally not preferred. If you're talking from the point of Navinji, if you're talking from the point of view of password, no? अगर पासवर्ड के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात कर रहे हो तो अपर केस लोअर केस जैसे भरत जी ने बताया होगा ना अपर केस लोअर केस स्पेशल कैरेक्टर एंड मोर देन 8 डिजिट्स yes Aditya ji absolutely got it right I'm recommending to change the passwords in all the sites which have been showed up on breaches, plus all the other sites where there have been no breaches, but you have the same username and the password combination, not the same password, but username and password combination is the same. But yeah, even if you have the same password on other websites, might as well as change it. I'll just look into a previous question. I think if I missed it. Okay, what is the meaning of paste? Paste means kya hota hai na? Like if you're talking about this paste, no paste. Paste means you can see this. It is written over here. It will take. What is a paste? A paste is a information that has been pasted to publicly facing website designed to share content. मतलब क्या? कहीं और से उठाया and they just pasted it, which means they could have got this username and password combination from somewhere else, not from a particular website data breach, but from somewhere else. So they have taken it from over there and they have put it up in a paste kind of a thing. But कहीं और से भी मिला है, so that is also dangerous. I hope you're trying this out. In fact, after you tried your email ID, you can try your mobile number also. Mobile number is nowhere breach. You can try this out. Okay, done, everybody? Any doubts in this so far? Okay, I'll move on to the next point. Okay, this is, I don't know if you're aware of this, Flexi Spy. So now, I'm just asking from a hacker's point of view, from a criminal's point of view. If you want to attack, क्या hack करना चाहोगे? What would you like to attack? If you want to attack, suppose you are a criminal, you are a hacker, and you want to hack somebody, what would you like to hack? अगर मैं आपको हैकर बना दूं और मैं आपको बोलता हूं कि you have 24 hours, आप बोलो आपको क्या हैक करना है? What would you like to hack? Okay, bank account details, passwords. Socho. I'm trying to bring out something from the chartered accountants. Client data. Okay. So I'll just tell you whatever things that we want to hack, maybe bank accounts, websites, everything more or less you're going to get on one place, one device. That is nothing but what? The mobile. I hope it is clear. एक मोबाइल के ऊपर ही हमें सब चीज मिलने वाली है. Like all of you have seen Harry Potter, all the, if you have seen Harry Potter, the main villain, who is the main villain in Harry Potter? Voldemort, right? We are not supposed to say the name, but take it. Okay, the series is over. So Voldemort is the main villain, and how for him, Voldemort wanted to live for eternity. So what he did, he divided his soul into 7 pieces. Okay, and until the 7 pieces are destroyed, he cannot be killed. And what was those 7 pieces called as? Horcrux, right? So part of the soul lives in that piece, in that Horcrux. If you were to get that opportunity today, okay, if you were to get an opportunity, if I tell you that you can live for eternity, but you have to break up your soul into 7 pieces, I'm sure one of the piece of your soul would go into a mobile phone itself. It is already a part of your soul. Am I right? Or at least it is a part of your body. Our phone has become a part of our body, and for more important other people also, it is a part of your soul also. Right? Right from waking up, right before going to sleep, everything is happening on the phone itself. So I'm just telling you, from a hacker's point of view, they want to target the phone more. Why? So I don't want to ask this question, but I will ask this question in a reverse manner. How many of you are not doing mobile banking on your phone? 3 साल पहले मैं ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछता था सेमिनार्स में कि कितने लोग मोबाइल बैंकिंग शुरू कर चुके हो, कितने लोगों ने गूगल पे शुरू किया है, कितने लोगों ने पेटीएम शुरू किया है. अब मेरे को रिवर्स क्वेश्चन पूछना पड़ रहा है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर स्टिल नॉट यूजिंग गूगल पे? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर स्टिल नॉट यूजिंग पेटीएम? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर नॉट डूइंग एनी मोबाइल बैंकिंग? प्लीज रेज योर हैंड. प्लीज टेल मी. Hardly anybody. Am I right? Everybody must be doing this. All of you are our potential victim and clients. मतलब CS बोलते हैं ना कि GST आने तो हमारा मतलब हमारे क्लाइंटल्स और बढ़ेंगे और हम लोग जैसे एथिकल हैकर्स सोचते हैं कि हाँ और टेक्नोलॉजी डालो और ऑनलाइन आओ उतने हमारे उतने क्लाइंट्स बढ़ने वाले करके राइट. सो ऑल ऑफ यू आर बिकमिंग माय पोटेंशियल विक्टिम एंड क्लाइंट्स and I'll explain the reason why also. See, I'm just telling you on my on my screen. This is an application known as FlexiSpy. ये हमारे साइबर की दुनिया में बहुत ही फेमस एप्लीकेशन है. Okay, if this application gets installed inside your phone now, it will completely be hidden. I repeat, this application gets installed inside your phone, it will completely be hidden. It will be running in the background and then it will take out a lot of data. क्या क्या डेटा देखते मिलता है देखो. फीचर्स के ऊपर टिक करता हूँ, एंड्रॉइड के ऊपर टिक किया. Let us look at the features. What all data can we see? फोन कॉल की रिकॉर्डिंग आ गया. इनकमिंग आउटगोइंग कॉल की डेटा मिल जाएगा. एनवायरमेंट रिकॉर्डिंग मींस कन्वर्सेशन सराउंडिंग द फोन आल्सो राइट. फोन के आजू बाजू की बात है. देन ऑफ कोर्स वी गेट टू सी योर व्हाट्सएप मैसेजेस, योर वाइबर मैसेजेस. व्हाट्सएप के मैसेज भी पढ़ सकते हैं. वाइबर, स्काइप, गूगल हैंगआउट, क्यूक्यू, टेलीग्राम, टिंडर, ईमेल, जीमेल, एप्लीकेशन स्क्रीनशॉट, कॉल लॉग्स, एड्रेस बुक, एसएमएस भी पढ़ सकता हूँ. प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट इज द हार्म इफ somebody can read your SMS. क्या जाएगा? एसएमएस पढ़ लिया तो क्या हो जाएगा? आजकल कौन एसएमएस भेजता है? Yes, perfectly right. Your OTP of the bank, that is one very important thing. Then of course I can read your your location tracking, your geofencing, your browser activity, application activity, keylogger. Now application activity मतलब क्या? आप मोबाइल बैंकिंग के ऊपर जो भी एप्लीकेशन की एक्टिविटी कर रहे हो वो मैं देख पाऊंगा. की लॉगर मतलब आप जो भी पासवर्ड डाल रहे हो वो मैं देख पाऊंगा राइट. की लॉगर, फोटोज, वीडियोस, ऑडियो फाइल्स, वॉलपेपर, इमेजेस, कैलेंडर. कुछ बचा? Hardly anything is left. Now I'm telling you, your spy application is used for financial purposes. ज्यादा करके बैंकिंग फ्रॉड जो हो रहे हैं वो इसी की वजह से हो रहे हैं. और I'm just going to tell you in the personal capacity also, this application is used in a very, it's widely used. Husband has got it out on wife or wife has got it out on husband. वाइफ जाती है वकील के पास, उनको जाके बोलती है कि मेरे हस्बैंड बहुत आउट स्टेशन घूम रहे हैं, बोल रहे जा रहे एक एक्स जगह पे और निकलते वाई जगह से, मुझे पता करना है चल क्या रहा है उनकी लाइफ में. तो उनके बेस्ट फ्रेंड या वकील क्या सलाह दे रहे हैं कि जिस दिन आपका एनिवर्सरी आएगा या हस्बैंड का बर्थडे आएगा ना, उनको फोन गिफ्ट में दे देना. और फोन गिफ्ट करे उससे पहले ऐसे एप्लीकेशन डाल के दे देंगे, फिर आप समझ जाइए कि क्या होगा. एंड आई एम वेरी सॉरी टू इन्फॉर्म यू, बट कलकत्ता में तो ये एप्लीकेशन इतना फेमस है ना, ये पूछो मत. स्पेशली एट द टाइम ऑफ मैरिजेस. मेरे थोड़े बहुत अच्छे क्लाइंट्स हैं, लड़का या लड़की की शादी फिक्स हो रही है और वो शादी अरेंज मैरिज है. अब आप समझ जाइए, अरेंज मैरिज के टाइम पे फैमिली वुड लाइक टू नो ए गुड रिपोर्ट अबाउट द अदर फैमिली. एम आई राइट? स्पेशली अबाउट द बॉय और द गर्ल. एग्रीड? So now what is happening is 10 or 15 days before or after the engagement, please tell me what is going to be one of the engagement gifts that will be given by the family to the other family, especially to the other boy or the girl. बताइए. साड़ी या सूट या थोड़ा some jewelry, but apart from that, what is the one engagement gift or one wedding gift that is very very famous in your city? Make any guess? Yes, I hope all of you are now aware. फोन गिफ्ट दिए जा रहे हैं. So before the phone is gifted, I hope you're understanding. Install such kind of a spy application, give it to the other boy or the girl, and the moment they begin to use the phone, आपको खानदान में कोई इंक्वायरी करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी. You do not have to do any other details, basically. So I'm just telling you, मतलब throughout my entire session, मेरे पूरे सेशन का कुछ याद रहे ना रहे, सिर्फ लाइफ में इतना याद रखना. Do not accept phone as a way of a gift. I know it is very hard. I know it is very tough. Okay, बट ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा ना कंट्रोल करने के लिए, स्पेशली अगर कोई क्लाइंट आके फोन गिफ्ट कर रहा है, कोई रिलेटिव आके फोन गिफ्ट कर रहा है, एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम टू कंट्रोल अवर इमोशंस. आज छोटी पेंडर भी अगर गिफ्ट पे मिल जाती है तो हमारा दिल बागबान हो जाता है, लाइक वी आर सो हैप्पी राइट. बट देन टू गेट ए फोन. बट yeah, if you really want to protect your data and your privacy, do not accept चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से तो मैं एक कदम और आगे बोल रहा हूँ. Do not accept any electronic device as a way of a gift. Na smartwatch, na pen drives, na phones. Yes, we can uninstall. Navinji, I'll come to that only. But I'm just explaining one methodology over here. I would request, शायद भरत जी ने ये बताया भी होगा, not sharing your OTPs, how to safeguard your phone and everything like that. But this is one of the case studies which I just wanted to just read this out, this case study. Okay, so I hope this is clear. आपको कोई SMS की कोई लिंक आएगी या WhatsApp के ऊपर कोई लिंक आएगा and you end up clicking on the link और वो application download हो गया and then it will be running in the background and the very next moment money can be withdrawn. Very next day his money was withdrawn. Now, first of all, the few questions that are coming is, can we know whether this is downloaded in any mobile phone or not, or can we uninstall? My request to all of you fellow participants here is, if you are going to use mobile banking, if you have configured your email ID on the phone, it is high time we should have a good antivirus inside our phone. Okay, a very good antivirus should be part of our phone. It could be any antivirus. Okay, so I'm just telling you, you can run Quickkill. Quickkill install kar dijiye, or there are some applications known as Lookout. Okay, you can scan that also. So what I would request is, install some good antiviruses inside your phone and scan your phone periodically, because 50 to 60% of the viruses can be easily detected by this good antiviruses. I hope this is clear. So every 15 days or 1 month, you can scan your phone using any of these antiviruses. Otherwise, there is, you have to manually check something called as Android के app permissions. App permissions मतलब क्या होता है कि क्या you know, you can go into the settings, apps and notifications, apps info and permissions. Here we can check, whether what kind of permissions have been taken by that application. मतलब हमें पता है कि एक एप्लीकेशन को ज्यादा से ज्यादा कितनी परमिशन चाहिए रहेगी, बट एक स्पाई एप्लीकेशन जो रहेगा, एनी स्पाई एप्लीकेशन विल टेक अ लॉट ऑफ परमिशन ऑन योर फोन. So manually also we can check whether any application is taking a lot of permissions and what is that application, whether it is visible on the screen or not, and we can check all these particular things also. So I will be sharing you the steps for checking or how to keep your phone secure. But I'm just telling you that we are getting a lot of cases like this where people have lost, because unfortunately I've seen parents also trying to put into their children's phone. Okay, I've seen partners putting in another partner's phone, directors putting in another director's phone. I've seen bosses putting in their employees' phones. So this is a very, very popular app, and many people have been using this. Buying from Amazon is fine, Aditya ji. Buying from Amazon is also fine. And in terms of recommended mobile antivirus, you can go for Quickkill. I think Institute has tied up with Quickkill for giving certain level of discounts, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Quickkill or Lookout, either of the two would be really good. If your phone has already got an inbuilt antivirus, okay, then you do not need to buy a new one. जो भी आपके फोन में inbuilt antivirus रहेगा उसको भी आप यूज कर सकते हो. I hope this is clear. Any doubts in this, please ask me. Yes, Aditya ji, this unboxed version of mobile now, that is very risky. Very. I know थोड़ा cheap हो जाता है, थोड़ा सस्ता होता है. I mean, it will get a little bit cheaper, but your privacy and your data would be really at big risk. Okay, now when I talk about unboxing the phone, I remember one more point. Okay, एक और एक point मेरे को याद है. अभी just strike हुआ है based on this question. How many of you are aware about the IMEI number of the phone? I would request if you take out your phone and dial this code, no? *#06#. Just एक बार dial करके देखिए. Dial this on your phone. You should get a big 15 or a 16 digit number on your phone. मिला? मतलब you should get it. 15 or a 16 digit number on your phone. *#06#. Okay, please understand that is nothing but your IMEI number of the phone. Now, what I would request all of you is, whenever you buy a new phone, okay, today you will get the IMEI number of the phone on the box also. IMEI number on the phone box. So whenever you buy a new phone, I hope all of you understand, you can see this. The IMEI number is shown on the box of the phone also. You can see my screen, right? Over here. So what I would request is, आप जैसे नया phone लोगे, buy the new phone, take out the phone and you will check everything, your camera and everything you will check, your camera, your microphone and everything you will check. Then what I would request, please dial this code on the mobile, *#06#. The phone's IMEI number should match with this box ka IMEI number. I hope you're getting me. Phone's IMEI number should match with the box IMEI number. Because in case if it does not match, then I hope you understand. I hope you're getting my point, everybody. Whenever you buy a new phone, the box IMEI number should match with the phone's IMEI number. In case if it does not match, then you should not buy that phone, honestly speaking. Right? I hope this is clear. Okay, there are rumors that certain Chinese phones come with pre-installed tracking device. Yes, that ways you are right, Aditya. That ways you're absolutely right, and we cannot escape that also. Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, Honor, we don't know whether they have an inbuilt tracking system or not. And we have seen in OnePlus, so they were tracking a lot of activities. But in case if you have to use the phone, then there's nothing much we can do against it. That is an unfortunate fact. Yes. Okay, I am almost on time now. So now I'm just going to ask you if you have any doubts, any questions coming to your mind, please ask me. We still have another few minutes to go. But before I cover my last point, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, please ask me.
So there's a question in the chat box by Aditya Surana. He says there are rumors that certain Chinese phones comes with pre-installed.
That has been taken up already. That has been taken up already.
Okay, sorry, I was disconnected. I don't. Yeah. So, okay, this is my email ID. This is my mobile number. In future also, I will just, sorry, wait, I have to share my screen. Yeah. All of you can see my screen, right? Okay, where will the IMEI number will be appearing after dialing? It will be appearing on the screen only. Kamalji, if you dial this code, na star has 06 hash on your screen, I mean on the phone, then it will appear on the phone only. To all the participants, you got it on the phone only, right? I mean, you will get it on the phone screen only, basically. Right? Then is antivirus required to be installed on iPhone also? Yes. I mean, honestly speaking, yes and no, but prefer yes. But you can use Lookout, scan the phone, and then if you do not like the antivirus, you can remove it also. But periodically, at least in few months, scan at least once. Chrome is safe for net banking login. Actually, any browser is safe. I mean, you can, as long as our computer is safe, then any browser is safe. But if you really want to use a proper good browser, then Chrome is good enough. Okay, Kamalji, you're not getting the number. I mean, basically, like when you're dialing the code on your phone, star as 06X, you're not getting the number. I mean, the whole 15 or 16 digit. Okay, to all the other participants, I hope all of you getting this, right? The code that you're getting, I mean, the code which we just showed right now, star has 06 hash. Kamalji, then just check below the battery. Matlab, you have to, unfortunately, you have to, I mean, reverse the phone ko piche se, just remove the flap and then see if it is written somewhere near the battery or somewhere like that. But physically, you will have to check somewhere your IMEI number physically. But it is, you should get the IMEI number. If you're dialing this code right now, star has 06 hash, then 99.99% you should get a IMEI number. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, Kamalji, then I think check through the battery somewhere. In the physically somewhere it should be written. Yes. Any other doubts, any other questions if you have in your mind, please ask me. Anything coming to your mind? So I've shared my email ID. I've shared my mobile number. In future also, if you have any doubts, any questions, if I missed out any question, let me know. Kamalji, any good antivirus would be in the form of Quickhill or Lookout. I'll just show you again. Quickhill, या तो आप Quickhill use कर सकते हो, which I think the institute has tied up with, or you can go for Lookout, sir. Quickhill or Lookout. Either of the two. Okay. Now one McAfee is also good. Palabji. McAfee is really, I mean, it's one of the oldest antivirus. That is also good. Yes. So I would like to also thank all of you for being a very, very wonderful and interactive audience. Um, any doubts, any questions? I have shared my contact details. I'll be sharing all these steps also to all of you. I'll be mailing it up. So any other additional required things, let me know. So thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving us an insight into an ethical hacker's mind and how to not accept phones as gifts. Now, I
Right.
would like to invite CA Naveen Singhal to please thank our learned speaker, Sachin Deria ji.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Ashita. I, Naveen Singhal, on behalf of Use Exchange CA Study Circle, would like to thank our learning speaker, CA Sachin, sir, our Sachin, the Master Blaster on cybersecurity. Thank you, sir. Your deliberation reminds me of Stephen Hawking's words, quote, I think computer viruses should count as life. I think it says something about human nature that the only form of life we have created so far is purely destructive. We have created life in our own image. With this thought, I would like to thank Sachin sir for taking out his precious time. Also, I would like to thank all the attendees for being so attentive and interactive. Thank you so much, everybody. Be cyber safe. Thank you, sir. Ashita.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating so well. Stay cautious, stay safe.